everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm Sakshi and Krishna. I'm the Global South coordinator for this global youth movement called the Youth for Our Planet. And we are a movement urging governments across the world to take action for nature and biodiversity, climate, and oceans. So we have put up this little event with the help of Given, who have very gratefully given us this pavilion. So I'd like to introduce speakers for today. We have Beatricy Vera, who is our Latin America and Caribbean regional mobilizer. She's also an environmental activist, graduate student in environmental engineer at the University of Sao Paulo, member of the Academic Center for Environmental Engineering. And we have with us today Bruno Vidal, who is a material engineer graduated from the University of Sao Paulo, USP, and he's also had a PhD in science from University of Sao Paulo and from the University of Alabama. He's also a university professor and researcher in the field of engineering. He's currently the Secretary of Agriculture for the city of Itajuba. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right.
That's correct.
Specialist in recovery of degraded areas and recovery of natural water systems. So we're very grateful to have the both of you here. So I'd like to give the floor, without any further ado, I'd like to give the floor to Bruno, who will talk about archaeology.
So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us in this event. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic that is agriculture, but we are going to talk about this topic in a very sustainable way. How to turn our agriculture system into something that can be more sustainable, something that can be useful for more years, since we're going through climate changes. Also, we are having problems with our resources, hydric systems, and things like this. So we from Latin America, with the help of Bruno Vidal, we made a video asking for our leaders to give more attention to agroforestry systems here in Latin America, since it is a system that can be implemented here and would thrive a lot for us and could be useful also for the production of commodities. So I'm going to pass the video now, and I want you to pay attention. Thank you so much. We want our leaders from Latin America to replace monocultural systems with agroforestry systems here.
O sistema agroflorestal é um sistema que a gente consegue produzir alimento até em solo degradado. Na agricultura sintrópica, na agrofloresta, a gente consegue gerar insumo no local por meio de poda das plantas, poda de leguminosas, com a rotação de cultivos. E com isso, o agricultor ele deixa de ser dependente do insumo químico e passa a fazer bem para o lugar, tendo esse manejo de poda e uma colheita constante. Então, colheita de verduras, legumes, frutas, produção de mel, tudo isso pode ser integrado em sistemas agroflorestais. Na América Latina nós temos muitas áreas de solo altamente degradado, que podem ser recuperadas e voltar a ser áreas de produção de alimentos. Então nós temos que desenvolver uma agricultura que seja focada no nosso bioma, aqui para a floresta tropical, assim como a América Latina é, focando na produção de alimentos para o município e que também tem excedente de alimentos de alto valor agregado para serem exportados também. Quanto aos benefícios, podemos listar vários, assim como a restauração das áreas florestais, mas já com um olhar econômico, com foco agrícola, né, de produção de frutas, de legumes, tudo associado nesses sistemas. Também é muito bom para a pecuária. A gente tem um consórcio silvopastoril, que ele pode ser feito de forma agroecológica. Isso também gera um benefício muito grande para combater as mudanças climáticas, porque a gente vai estar ajudando a mudar o bioma, recuperar a força do solo, aumentar o sombreamento, ter presença de árvores, onde hoje é pastagens, para ajudar a recuperar a água do lugar e ajudar também a gente a voltar a produzir alimento nesses lugares que já foram degradados, que já não servem mais para agricultura, ao invés de ficar focado no aumento da fronteira agrícola, buscando áreas de florestas que ainda tem solo bom para produzir, sendo que temos áreas gigantescas, desertificadas, que podem ser recuperadas e garantir tanto a segurança alimentar quanto a segurança hídrica dos municípios e de regiões, aqui na nossa América Latina. E garantir. Outro veio forte também, de econômico, é a parte de crédito de carbono, porque todos esses lugares que entram no sistema de produção de fruta para reflorestamento com agrofloresta, passa a ser também objeto de investimento para crédito de carbono, que muitas empresas estão buscando local para aplicar esses recursos, favorecendo o desenvolvimento de uma agricultura sustentável e permanente no local, que não seja dependente de insumos químicos. Na nossa América Latina temos diversas cidades que têm esse perfil, a gente consegue recuperar o solo usando os resíduos da própria cidade, às vezes, e ainda gerar o benefício de ter fruta e água sendo produzida na própria cidade. No Brasil temos muitas áreas que já estão executando esse princípio. A agricultura familiar já está servindo alimento para as crianças, na alimentação escolar. Então, modelos já temos, tecnologia para executar também temos. Agora dependemos de boa vontade de investidores e governos para trazer essa realidade e começar a criar uma possibilidade de vida mais saudável para a nossa população e para toda a natureza.
Além de ser viável tanto no Brasil quanto nos demais países da América Latina, o sistema agroflorestal protege os nossos povos da expansão constante das fronteiras agrícolas, da contaminação, da escassez da água, permitindo que até nós mesmos produzimos os nossos próprios alimentos.
All we ask is for you, our leaders, to consider agroecology systems as a way out of the damages caused by monocultural production of commodities. And you can encourage these agroforestry systems through tax exemptions and also investments, so we can have, by 2050, 100% sustainable crops.
Thank you so much for the video, Beatrice. And I now give the floor to Mr. Bruno, who will now be talking as to what agroecology is.
First of all, I want to say thank you for use for our planet, for inviting me to be here, representing South America people, and they represent Brazil too, as well. I would like to say thank you to United Nations and for bringing to us the Biodiversity Conference COP15. It's a very pleasure for me to be here. And the agroforestry system is more than a good idea to produce food in a sustainable way. Is what the best option that we have to produce food and in the same time recover our soil life and protect us water, because without water and without soil, any society could survive. So agroforestry system has old origin. It has, I guess, the same idea of the forest, the Amazon forest, because us people that live here, the original people, the natives from Brazil, the natives from South America, use it to live inside the forest. And in that time, they know what to do to protect the forest, make it grow, and at the same time have enough water with quality and enough fruits, enough food to all the living beings that was here in that time. But after the Industrial Revolution, we made a different type of agriculture, and a lot of areas that once was forest nowadays seems like deserts, and we lost a lot of good areas to agriculture, lost the soil life, lost nutrients, put a lot of carbon inside the atmosphere, and at the same time we lost the water of the place. So here in Brazil, as the same, we have the same situation in South Latin America. We have a big problems of soil condition because it hasn't good conditions to produce food. And we need to recover, to regenerate these areas. But at the same time, industries, big farmers continue doing the same thing that the Portuguese did here in Brazil 500 years ago. Yet areas of natural forest put it down to produce food using a good soil. And we needed to change this way to produce food. And we needed to put a high attention in every city in Latin America to recover the soil into the city, because we have a lot of areas that has a good condition, but need to be recovered to produce food again. An agroforest system is a science that is based, his base is observation of the nature. Nature has allowed to operate, and we need to observe how it works in each place, and try to do the same mechanism to produce food, and at the same time having trees at the same place, have animals, have insects, have the fungi, bacteria into the soil, getting carbon from the atmosphere, and recovering the soil capacity to absorb water again. Without it, we can't produce food.
Sure. Since we have these systems functioning here in Brazil or Latin America, as Bruno said, they can drain the soil, they can use the soil until it is not usable anymore. The agroforestry system is something that is really important for us, and we have some questions for you, Bruno, to specify how to put this in practice. How can we make the leaders see the agricultural system, agroecology system, as a way to produce, to have results, and to also recover biodiversity loss, and also forests lost, biomes lost, and recover ecosystems at all. So can we start the questions, Sakshi?
Sure. I have a question to Mr. Bruno. How can now we've understood like what agroecology is. So I just want to know, how can agroecology protect biodiversity?
Okay, how can agroecology help to recover and protect biodiversity? Biodiversity is the key of the health of the rainforest. So first of all, we need to understand that every place in the world has a different characteristics about geography, climate, and quantity of rain per year. So we can't propose just one solution for everything. What we need is watch what's happening in every place and develop solution for that place, that specific place. So here in Brazil and Latin America, we have rainforests that are a huge forest that have a lot of biodiversity, to many type of trees, to many type of fruits, and a lot of life into the soil. Without the life into the soil, we can't have health into the plants, and at the same way, we can't have enough good nutrients to produce good food. So into agroforest system, we can get areas that nowadays are like a desert, and recover the biodiversity, recover the natural potency of that place to produce food. So into the agroforest system, we can't see just one type of fruit, like just only farm or just like what group of beans. We have a lot of different type of plants at the same place. We use stratification. We have small plants, medium ones, and the biggest ones that can survive together and combine the abilities of the plants to help each other to grow and help and recover the soil at the same time. So into agroforestry system, the familiar agriculture, that is the most important thing to produce food here in Brazil. Agriculture made by small farmers, small families that produce food for the cities. If they use agroforestry system, they can at the same time preserve biodiversity and have a good profits as by selling organic food, for example, and preserve soil and water at the same time. So we can use agroforestry system as a good solution to every city in South America, in Latin America, because we have similar conditions of original characteristics of the nature, and we have a lot of places that nowadays are like a desert. So we can get this place that nowadays seems like a desert and recover the health of this place and recover the capacity, the ability of this place to produce food. So in the same time, we can produce food, water, crops, and recover biodiversity.
Thank you so much for answering that question, Mr. Bruno. Leading with that, I think that brings me to my next question. Thinking about how resource depletion is happening, how can agrofloristry system be beneficial to the biodiversity conservation?
Okay, so here in Brazil, using Brazil as a good example to South America, the biodiversity is a key of health of the place. So we know this, and when we go to walk inside the forest, we can see a lot of plants, small bees that can pollinize big trees. So there is a high equilibrium that needs biodiversity to exist. Without biodiversity, we lose the ability to produce health into that place. So when we are talking about syntropic farming or agroforestry system, we are talking about combining produce of corn with beans, with banana, with fruits, with wood to use to constructions and other stuff, and preserve natural areas. So agroforestry system can help biodiversity by recovering areas that nowadays seems like a desert and giving back the biodiversity to that place, and for the people that lives there in that place, recover the ability to produce food again, to have good health and good conditions to take care of their families.
Thank you so much, Bruno, for that. My next question would be, is it economically viable to make a transition from the monoculture model to agroforestry model?
Okay, so when talk about monoculture, and we need always to think about transition. We can't make it strongly at the same time, just change the way of production. We need to make a transition because a lot of families just know to produce food inside a monoculture system. So we're talking about a change in the culture, a change in the way of thinking, how to produce food. And it could be very economical and bring good fruits to the farm. because when you start producing food in some field, in the first year, for example, use 1 ton of chemical products to produce one quantity of food. In the next year, you need 20 or 30% more chemical insulin to produce that food. So each year, the farmer need more external elements to produce food. And when we are talking about agroforest system, we are trying to recover the soil good condition with fungi, bacteria, carbon, fiber, everything that are necessary to the soil health. And after that, the soil didn't lose a lot of nutrients, and it starts to have more nutrients than you can get with the crop. So in a short period of time, we can propose for the farmer, make a transition from the monoculture system to the system that has a high biodiversity, like a agroforest system. And this is very important because the farmer, you start to get more than one type of product in the farm, not just only corn or soya, for example. They could have bananas, they could have production of coal to have meat. And so we can have different types of products combined together at the same area. And it's very good too, because the farmer will have more periods of more products to collect and sell along the year. So we have a good examples here in Brazil, here in Itajubá City, the place that I live, and I work with agroforest systems. We are seeing that when we start a project with agroforest, the place become better, and the profits in a short period of time grows for the farmer too.
Thank you so much, Bruno, for answering that question. I'd like to open the floor for any questions from the audience, if either online or anyone joining us in person. Oh, okay, so we have a question.
Hello, Bruno and Beatrice. My name is Enrique, and I am from Peru. Well, I also currently work with farmers, so I know about, for example, different concepts related to the nature stuff. But I think that now in Latin America, it's a new concept about agroforestry, because I don't hear very much this kind of concepts while I am working with the farmers. I think that is a new. I don't know if you can explain some initiatives or examples successful that happens in Latin America and maybe focus in Peru, could be. Thanks.
Thank you so much for the question. Mr. Bruno, would you like to answer that?
Yes. Here in Peru, I guess we have the same problems that we have here in Brazil. Nowadays, if you goes to, I guess, 500 years ago, there is totally different nature in that place. And we lost the connection with nature to understand how it works. So what you said that is a different change in mind, is a different way to think how to make agriculture. Not going against the nature, but it goes in the same direction that nature grows. So if we need to produce food at the same time recover the soil, we can just watch how natural forest works, and start to do the same thing into degraded lands to recover the soil properties, the soil ability to store water, to make things grow healthily. And I guess it's a good way to make the people have enough knowledge to take care about themselves, not just needing employers, needing seed that comes from industry, needing from chemical venoms to produce food, because we are made of food, and us food is made by soil. If the soil isn't healthy, how could people be healthy? So we need to take care about the soil life, because it will be a good result for the health of the population. So I understand agroforest system as a good way to the population achieve the tools, necessary tools to take care about themselves and stop to needing the help of companies, employers, and other groups that make it hard for the farmer to produce food. So we can look to the nature, observe how it works, and reply the same system into our field to produce food. So Peru is a place that I really love, and the people are very strong, and we have the same problems here in Brazil. So we need to combine the minds to get the good solutions that could help Latin America.
Thank you so much, Bruno, for that. Do we have any more questions either online or from here? We have another question.
Hello, I'm Maya from Switzerland. Hello, I'm Maya from Switzerland, and I'm
Hello.
studying. Okay. Hi, I'm Maya from Switzerland, and I'm studying ecology of plants. And I wanted to ask you whether there are like different species or branches of the agriculture which are easier to convert into agri-forests from monocultures than others, like for example, specifically in Brazil, the coffee production. Sorry, yeah. Do you know some differences between species, and also maybe between regions in Brazil?
Nice. Yeah, thank you for your question. And this example that you did, the coffee production, is a good example for us to talking about now. When you have just coffee crop, just a field with coffee, you have just one type of plant, and just the same plant using, for example, in 1 acre, you have 2,200 coffees, and they are using the same nutrient, using the same water, has the same size of roots too. And with the passing of time, 5 years after, 10 years after, the production always goes down. But we can combine papaya with coffee, banana, papaya, banana, like module tree too, to have a good wood to produce, to use to civil engineering, like. So it's a good example. If you have a farm of coffee, you can make a transition to a forest system just using 4 plants: papaya, banana. You could put there avocado too, and put some tree that will make some shadow to the coffee, because shadow didn't like to have 100% of the sunlight over it. They like to have some shadow. So you can have some plants that grows more and tall than the coffee to make some shadow, and the coffee will grows better, and you have more other plants now, other fruits to collect in the same place. Like I told you, you can have banana, you can have avocado, you can have papaya, you can have tree to use the wood too. So for each type, each case, we can discover what is better to put in that place. Many think here in Brazil or in Peru, in South America, we have a lot of farmers that live in mountains. So we have the changeling to produce food without losing the soil. When the rains goes, could get and carry all the nutrients of the soil. So we need to have some barriers to fix the nutrient there and stop the erosion process. So there is a lot of good solutions. We have a good examples here in Brazil that we could share with other countries and share with other people to use the same way of thinking, not the same solution, because each place needs some specific solution. So what agroforestry system brings to us is a different way to think. It's a way to think in the same way that nature grows, the same way that the planet Earth works. This huge living being that is planet Earth has intelligence, has a way to regulate the equilibrium. So we need to go inside this balance, goes inside of this way of thinking and create it from this point. So we can have a lot of good examples, and coffee is a good way because it has a good price to sell, and you can combine other type of plants, increasing the coffee product and also improving the coffee quality too.
Thank you so much, Bruno. We do have another question for you, and we have a couple of minutes more left. So I think we can take one more question from the audience here. I hope you're okay to answer it.
Yeah, it's me again, Maya, and I wanted to ask you about your like greatest challenges and obstacles you have to overcome. Is it maybe the government or also the minds of the farmers, or yeah, some, or maybe also ecology, or like from climate? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand because there is some noise. Could you repeat, please?
I was asking you for your greatest challenges and also obstacles you have to overcome during your work. Is it maybe the government or the minds of farmers you have to convince that it's very necessary to protect the biodiversity and it's important, or is it also naturalistic or environmental factors you have to take into account?
Okay. Thank you for your question. And I guess the changeling is all of it, is a mixture of all of it. It's not just a problem of the government, problem with the employers, or with the mind of the society, I guess. It's a huge problem that involves everyone, that involves all the human beings. We can't get a solution just not only from the farmers. We need a combined solution using the experience of the employers to develop technologies, using the government to produce good policies for the people, and teaching the farmers a good ways to recover the soil, recover the water system, into the place. So I can't put what is more important. I guess what is needed is to solve all of it at the same time. We can't just look for one part, and many people here in Brazil always says bad thing about the farmers. They are destroying the nature, but it's very difficult for you to see some employers or some government creating solutions to working together with the farmers to help them to make a different way to produce food. So we can't make this distinction about responsibilities. And I think who has more responsibility is who has more knowledge, who has more capacity, and mainly with money too, to help who needs to make the change. That's the farmer. Too many families live in a poverty condition, and they can't put some money to restore the land. But there is a lot of companies that spend a lot of money in projects that just bring name, just as a market strategy, not real solutions that could help people. So I guess who needs to make more effort to help is the leaders, the government, the companies, because people that live inside the fields, many of them have enough conditions to understand, to study. They are trying just to have some money to have food, to take care of their families. So if you are talking about the solution, we need to look at all of it, and who has more condition to help now, I guess, is the government and the leaders. And there is one more point that I would like to explain here, because a lot of people says that Latin America, Africa too, has high degraded areas that become a desert. But it's very difficult to see someone talking about the origin of it. And for me, the origin of it is the way that the European people came here, so using Brazil example, to colonize, and using slaveries to produce, to crop, to get trees. So the richness has high connection with poverty. So if you have this type of problem, we look to the roots of it. If there is a problem with the roots, we need to cure it. And to cure it, I think it's very important. People from developed countries like England, like Portugal, and other countries that has a good money condition, a good financial condition, and help to solve the problems that the ancestral made for my country, made for Africa, that cause this aspect of poverty that we can see nowadays. So we can't ignore the history. The history of the poverty of Latin America and Africa has a high connection with Europe people too. So if you can try to solve this, we need to work together and get what one has a good condition, like European people that has a good financial situation, and use the ability to produce technology to apply here in Brazil, here in Latin America, in Africa, to help the people that live here. That is a result of a cultural disaster that happens, and start to make a solution together. So this is one more point that I would like to let here, that we have a historical problem, and there is a connection with poverty, and richness. So we can make an equilibrium about it, using what one has a good condition to help who is needing, because the equilibrium of the Earth's planet depend of it, depend of we recover the natural equilibrium, recover the biodiversity, recovering the health of the people too, because there is a lot of people that just eat trash. So we need to take care of it and help it while we can.
So I just wanted to add about the urgency of the climate change. We have something that is harmful for the agriculture, and this is why we have the emergency to think about other ways to produce food, because food is the base of the system. And we are a country that has a high inequality, and talking about social way. So we have a lot of people here in Latin America that will suffer more than in countries that are completely or almost completely developed. So we are going to suffer more with the climate crisis. So this is why these changes through monocultural systems to agroecology systems are something that we need to take as an emergency. This is why we need to have more attitude from the government and the leaders, because this is a problem for the whole country, the whole Latin America as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bruno and Beatrice. With that, I think I'd want to take us to the last segment of today. I'd like to tell you all a little bit about Youth for Our Planet and what we do. Youth for Our Planet is a global South movement, global youth movement, where we urge governments across the regions to take action for nature, biodiversity, and climate. And we do this how is through petitions, letters, and different campaigns on ground, online, and at this kind of conferences. So yeah, that's a little about Youth for Our Planet. And I'd like to quickly thank Beatrice and Bruno for joining us today, and all of you for taking out time to join us on this session. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, and you can contact with us if you need some projects, some ideas. We can share together and find a solution together too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.